Hey, Professor Homa, and we're going to work with EX5 drag and drop, and we're going to once again use a snowman as an example. And this is a very simple example where basically here's our instructions: drag the eyes to the snowman's face, and if we drag him to the snowman's face, it locks into a certain place, and we get feedback that says good job. If you do not, I'll pull him off the snowman's face, it says try again. So if you went over to get it on the snowman and you missed, it would say try again. If you get it on, it says good job. Okay, now we're going to even go further a step, because on this example, you could put it on his chest and it jumps up to his eyes. You could put it on his hat and it jumps to his eyes. So it's really hard to miss the snowman. It's not very challenging. So we're going to make a smaller target area. Right now, there's basically a target area, which is the snowman itself, where if you get it anywhere in the box of the snowman, it's going to lock onto his face. If you do not, it goes back to its original location using our X and Y coordinates. We also have a feedback box that's going to say good job if you get it on the right location, and try again if you do not. So this is a movie clip that's draggable. This is a drop target, and I think what I'm going to do is just kind of use another drop target that'll make life a little easier so we don't have to use this entire snowman. So we'll just vary a little bit from the original exercise, but we did do that as a second part of the exercise. So we're going to go here and we're going to be working with drag and drop, and we're also going to be working with if-else statements, conditional statements in our code, which is a little more complex, but it also makes it a little more interesting, a little more fun, because it's not just making things play, it's actually things will happen based on what you do. So there's different things you can do based on where you put something. So that makes it a little more interactive. So what we're going to do here, we have actions. It's all going to take place right here. This is it. There's no double clicking inside of movie clips, any of that. No tweening, anything. So we don't have to worry about that. We have a thing called eyes MC button mode equals true. And if you remember what that does, it makes it the eyes so that you see the link finger when you hover over it. We also have listener and function to start drag, listener and function after circles release. So I kind of have we're going to put a listener and function in here and a listener and function in this part after this part. So that's what we're going to do. Let's just see if we have things named. We do. That's called eyes MC. This is called snowman MC. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a step. This thing over here is called feedback underscore text. TXT. That's like the underscore MC. That's naming this. It's a text field, a dynamic text field that you could display information in. And it's called string. When you put text in there, it's called a string. So we're going to display a string in there. So you won't even see it until text displays in there. And what we're going to do, I'll do this right off the bat. I'll make sure I'm going to take this drawing object and I'm going to convert it to a movie clip. And I'll say convert to symbol, and I'm just going to call it drop area. That's what it's going to be. It's just a rectangle to drop area. Okay, and then I'm going to move it here for drop area. A couple things you might want to do is, first of all, when you click on this eyes MC, you want to make note of where the X and Y is, because that's its original location. So you could write that down, 108, 131. That's where it is. And also one thing that we can write down is, where do you want the eyes to end up? And that's like 420, 250. So that's its X and Y, and it goes from the middle. So we want to note those positions. So, and the reason I noted them first, because I'm going to move this thing here. Now this is basically where we want the drop area. So they have to drop the eyes in this area. Instead of the entire snowman, we're going to use this. And I'll even give it an instance name. I'll just call it drop MC. So that'll mean it's my drop area. I called it drop area for the symbol, but I'll just call it drop MC. I'll use a shorter version for this. I'm going to leave it green right now. We're going to use code to make it invisible. Instead of making invisible, because we can go here, we can go to alpha and we could turn it down. But then sometimes it's hard to remember where it is and how you found it, and or sometimes you could leave it like that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it solid, and we'll make it transparent with code. Let's go right into the code. We'll get started. And what we'll do with the code first, right after this, maybe I'll go and put drop MC, and I'll do dot, and I'm going to use alpha. I can see alpha right here. And I'll do equals 0, semicolon. And what that'll do is it'll put the alpha transparency down to 0, meaning you won't see it. And that'll do it with the code. That way you could keep it green out on the stage, but once it runs in its Flash player, it won't be seen at all. Okay, another thing I want to make sure I do and this happens after we test it out, is I'm going to do modify, arrange, bring to front, because these things have to be in front of that for it to work as a drop area. And when we tested it in class, it didn't. So make sure that that has to be on top of that. They could be on the same layer, but this has to be over that. You can't be going under that or it won't work. Okay, so we're going to make sure we do that. And now we're going to write some of our code to start dragging this thing. So I'm going to go back to my actions frame 1, and I'm going to write a listener, and I'm going to be dragging eyes. So I'm going to do eyes underscore MC dot, and what I'm going to be doing is add event listener, and it's going to be still a mouse event. And instead of click, we're not going to be clicking on the eyes to drag them. We do something called mouse down to drag them. And if I start typing, there's mouse down, because if you remember the symbol here, you have to put your mouse down in order to drag it. If you leave your mouse up, it goes back. So this is mouse down, and the other one, when you leave go, it's going to be mouse up. So we're not using mouse click for that one. That's what we're using. So we'll go back here and use mouse down, and then it works the same way. We're going to give it a function, and I'm just going to call it eyes drag. I'll call it that. Okay, and then close it off, parentheses, and put a semicolon. So that's our listener, and to make it drag is really easy. We're just going to do a function for eyes drag. So I'm going to do function. It's eyes drag is the function, and then we're doing the E mouse event again. There's mouse event, and then I'm going to close it off and do the colon void, and do the opening curly bracket and closing curly bracket. And what's going to happen, I'll bump this down a little. What's going to happen in this function is we're just going to drag the eyes. So it's just going to be eyes MC. You could even copy this. Eyes MC dot start, and there's a startDrag method. And you don't need any parameter inside there. You just like a stop action. That's all that's going to happen. And if we play this right now, if we do command return and we play it, we can drag our eyes around, except when we release or when we do mouse up, nothing happens because we don't have anything applied yet. So we got to fix that. But that's the first part of it. We did our startDrag. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this, because this next one is going to be a lot like it, and I'm going to paste it. And we could just change a couple things here. Instead of mouse down, it's going to be mouse up. And this is the release part. Instead of eyes drag, we're going to call it eyes drop, because we're going to be dropping it on the drop area, kind of on the snowman's face. That's where we expect to drop it. So we'll call it eyes drop. And then what's going to happen, it's going to be an eyes. And there's also, if you're not sure, we'll backspace here, and you can see that there's a method for stopDrag. There's stop, and then there's stopDrag, you'll find. And it's the same way. It's very simple to that. It's very similar to that. So if we save this, and I'll test it, and I can drag it and I could drop it. Nothing's really happening. I'm not really getting any feedback. I could just move this around. Now, you might have fun doing this, but we want to have some kind of conditions occur where if you put it on his face, it'll stay there, and if you don't, it goes back. So then we could kind of build more interactivity into our movement.